What's going on, guys? So this is part 2 of the rebuild for the G30. In the last episode, we took apart everything that was involved in the crash, the steering rack, the headlight, the bumpers, the fenders, everything that was basically damaged. In this video, we're going to take apart the struts and that wishbone that was bent. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This guy here is your wishbone. Clearly very, very bent. So we're going to need to replace this. And to get to this, you need to remove your struts. Luckily, the same thing applies for the other side. So let me show you how to do it on this side. In the last video, we left the sway bar hanging. We're going to remove it. It's held on by this 18mm nut. We're going to turn it until it starts turning in place, and then we're going to counter hold it with a T40 so we can remove that nut, and do it for both sides so the sway bar can come out. Now we take our T40, put it in, and wrench it out. And pull that bolt off, remove your T40, and there you go. And I already released it from that side, and your sway bar is out. There's a collar on the bottom of the strut. It's held on by a 16mm screw. Go ahead and remove that screw so you're able to remove the nuts holding up your strut from the top, and you'll be able to move it out of the way and get it out. There you go. Is take a jack and jack up your wheel a little bit so you hold tension up. So when you remove the strut, the tire doesn't just fall down and break something else. The strut bracket held on by this bolt here. There's a nut on the other side that's 13/16 size, and this nut here is 18mm. Remove the 18mm bolt until it starts turning in place, and then hold the nut down while you remove the bolt. Once you get the 13/16 nut from the rear side, you get your 18mm, you remove this bolt. You'll get to a point where you see threads on this side. Once you see them, just start threading them out. And that bolt comes right out. And now you should be able to free up the strut. The strut won't let you clear your CV axle if it's X drive. If you're just rear wheel drive, you won't have this issue. But in our case, we have to remove that little bracket from the strut. So you just have to give it a little tap or two to drop it so you're able to drop the strut from the chassis.
Top of the strut, you have 3 bolts here. We're using a 3/8 socket, and you will take one by one all these out.
And the strut should drop right out of place. And there you go. Same thing for the other side, and you'll have your struts out. This wishbone here, it's held on to the wheel by a 24mm bolt. Just go ahead and impact that bolt out of the way. You want to get a T50, put it on top so you can counter turn while you're turning that 24mm bolt. And that bolt from the wishbone should come right out of place. And then this will disconnect from the wishbone. So now you have all the play. And now there's only one more bolt, and we get that lower control arm out. Once you have that nut loose, the wishbone lower control arm should swing down low, and then just go ahead, remove that nut, and pull the screw out. Holy smokes, look at that. Wow, look at right where the mount goes, it's completely dented in. Alright, we just gotta change this out, put a new steering rack in, and see what we got ourselves done. We removed the strut on this side. And once you see them side by side, you can see the damage they took. This one completely dislodged from its place. The boot is gone. The boot here is kind of like stuck in its place. Won't allow the spring to go up and down normally. So this definitely had to be replaced. Since the fender took a pretty big impact, whenever the door was open, it would scratch up against the fender, and it made this little scratch here. So I'm gonna have to take the door off, take it to a body shop so they can repair this. So once we wrap it or paint it, you won't see this little dent. To remove the door, pretty simple. Take a flathead. You wedge it right underneath this clip, pull up until you hear a click. Like that. And you pull it out. You only have 3 screws to remove the door, 5/16 socket. There you go. And the 2 hinges are held on by 13mm bolts. Just remove those 2. There's one. And there's the other one. And now just remove it off the hinges. And there you go. There's the G30 door. No disrespect to any Jeep owners out there, but this looks so much better. And that is everything that's on the car that was affected by the accident, completely removed. Luckily, the CV axle to the X-Drive wasn't broken or dented in. Same for the other side. This control arm is still good. Same goes for the bushing that holds it. We will be doing full brakes all around and pads. This upper control arm is good as well. Luckily, it didn't take that damage, only the wishbone. And the B58. Not a single thing was damaged in the accident. All lines, no leaks. Oil is still good. Everything is still perfect engine-wise. We will be doing tune, downpipe, intake, the whole 9. We'll throw this thing to about 450, maybe 500 horsepower, depending on what the owner wants to go with. I didn't take the wishbone out of the passenger side because it's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. That bend is normal in G30s. Crash bar didn't take a hit. It's still perfectly fine. Same for the lower crash bar. The body is perfectly angled from this side, and there's not a single dent anywhere else on this vehicle besides where it took the hit. For 33,000 miles, we have to bring this thing back to life. I mean, just look at this interior. It's pristine. That pretty much sums it up for this episode, guys. Everything that needs to be off the car is completely removed. Everything has been placed on order. As soon as it arrives, you guys know the deal. We'll already start putting it back on this car so we can start having the real fun. I really cannot thank you guys enough for watching, supporting, and always giving me the love that you guys do. It's truly overwhelming sometimes. I really want to say thank you to the owner for giving me the trust to work on his car, and all the other people that have come into this garage as well. It really does mean so much. So thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Alright, that's not good. Alright. You guys need to open up. Take a step back. Take a step back. He wants to go for it. Alright, we need to make sure we catch that on video. There you go. Alright, you gotta do 3 revs. Ready? Go.
Get it up close, for sure.